The theme for this session, youth access to finance, links directly with the theme of, the IFAD Governing Council of, in rural innovation and entrepreneurship. We're starting later than we anticipated, and we know that when the climate changes, we adapt. So we're going to adapt, and we're not going to be standing between you and the reception. We'll try to adapt and make sure that things are faster. We know the challenges of the youth. I'm not going to say much about it, but what I want to indicate is that amidst the complexities and the challenges, we have young people out there who are making a difference, who are taking agriculture as their career of choice, and we have to celebrate them. So this session, it's not about young people coming to tell you about the challenges and problems, but they are coming to share with you what they are doing on the ground. And we have to celebrate them, we have to support them, and use them as role models if we want to attract youth into the agricultural sector. In the morning, Sherry said, we are the youth and we are the future. So very soon we'll be bringing 4 futures, because they're the youth who will ascend the stage. I would like them to come over. In that process, yes, please come over. When you welcome the future, we need a big round of applause. I think we can do better. Okay, before I introduce them, we would like to play a video from Nigeria that demonstrates how IFAD is actually bridging the gap with some experiences there. The video from Nigeria, it's a 2-minute video, just to allow our panelists to get settled.
Before I'm a graduate, I didn't have any work, but with the coming of this project, I was trained as rice seed producer. I produce a certified seed which will improve the yield of the crop in this community. The challenge that we youths in this area face is financial aspect. That's my main challenge before starting the business. We have microfinance bank here. I go through my cooperative to obtain my first loan, which I use in my first production. I was able to produce, I return it back to them. Then I was able to save from what I had been getting from that field for next production. We usually used to use our hand to do land preparation, but now we have so many mechanization that it will ease our farming activity. Some of the machines, we buy them using our money, which we save in the cooperative, while some of them it was given us as a grant. Mobile banking has helped me a lot in my business because I don't have to be moving around with cash. The moment someone bought my product, they will send money into my account. Whenever I went to the bank, my transaction using mobile banking, so that they will see the money that is coming in and also the money that is going out. That will give me access to the loan that I'm inquiring from them. Since all these things are available, some youth have started coming back, and also they have started engaging themselves in farming activity. I've employed 20 youths temporary, and also I have 5 youth that are working with me permanently. I want to remain in this business because there is a lot in it.
Thank you very much. We can see from the video that when the youth are given an opportunity, they can actually do it for themselves. I would like to introduce my panelists here. I'll start here. We have, Ndiokam Divine, all the way from Cameroon. He's a managing director for a Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network, and he's wearing many hats. He's also a vice president of the Continental Youth in Livestock, Fisheries, and Aquaculture Incubation Network. One thing about him, he promotes, the SDGs. Something that is so special about the work that he does. He's been leading, an innovation or an intervention where they translate, the SDGs into more than 60 local languages where he actually engages the youth. Welcome, Divine. Our second speaker, it's a very interesting one. She's coming all the way from Kenya, and her name is Anne Nyaga. Anne is the youngest minister of the county in Kenya, responsible for agriculture, cooperative development, livestock, and fisheries in Kenya. She's also a co-founder of the 4-H movement or foundation in Kenya, and she's an entrepreneur and a farmer. She's wearing many hats. Our next panelist there, all the way from Mexico, and her name is Dali Nolasco. Dali is a special panelist here in the sense that, she's bringing the voice of the indigenous women back in her country. She's a director of the Timor Platinum, an intercultural association, and she advocates a lot for the indigenous women and indigenous voices in her country. Last but not least, over there, we have Jim Cano. He's coming all the way from the Philippines. Jim is part of the University of the Philippines, but also he's a leader. I've met Jim in many occasions. He's the country representative of the Young Professionals in Agricultural Development, YPAD. He's also a contact person for the Youth Working Group for the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services. Thank you very much for gracing our stage and allowing yourself to share your experiences. Okay, now I'm going to give my panelists 3 to 4 minutes just to tell us briefly what they do and focusing on the experiences that they have. Divine, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Lami, for this opportunity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity as some people to express ourselves. Yeah, as the moderator said earlier on, what actually encouraged me to get into agriculture is after my graduate studies, I realized that there was an issue of unemployment, and also passionate about seeing how I could actually create job for myself. That gave me an opportunity to set up the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network, which is right now in 41 countries, headquartered in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Looking at the theme of today, which is access to finance, it's no more, the bad news has been there's no access to finance. It's difficult for young people to get money for their projects, to get into the agricultural domain. But today, the good news is there are very, very key strategies in which young people are actually getting access to finance. I'm going to shortlist 3 points here. One, which is value addition. Many years back, we produce, but we don't actually leverage the product to market because we don't actually know the community needs. But right now, adding value to the product, for example, we have the honey which can be transformed and actually, produce the value added to come up with the cream or soap, for example. We have the branding and the packaging. At times when I go to supermarkets, I want to know where the product is from. But right now in Cameroon, we have Cameroon-made products, and that actually encourages young people to produce more and actually create more jobs for other young people and giving a component for them to get access to finance, because when they add value to the product becomes much more costly than earlier before. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is innovation. Just some few weeks back in Kenya, I came up with one of my team members. We was actually developing a strategy, the F3 Life, which gives an opportunity for young people to access credit at very low interest rates. And one of the criteria for these young people to be able to access this finance, they should be climate smart. They should actually address the challenges faced by agricultural sector. That's why we talk of climate smart agriculture. I have the triple wins, which is mitigation, adaptation, and improving productivity for the smallholder farmer. Okay. The next thing we thought equally very, very important. How, now I'm in agriculture, how do I ensure that other young people actually get involved into the agricultural sector? Happy to be here. We really, together with the excellencies here, to transform the rural communities into rural cities. Yeah. Yeah, transforming the rural communities into rural cities. What do I mean by this? If a young person in an X or Y community, for example, let's say in Gemenduka in the east region of Cameroon, if he finds himself having good access to education in that community, I don't see why he has to come to Yaoundé to get a job. So I think that this is an appeal to all the excellencies here. Let's try to invest much more in ensuring that we encourage rural financing in our various constituencies, and in this case in Cameroon and other countries, part of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And what's your story?
Thank you. Good evening, Your Excellencies. As you've heard, my story goes back in 2008, and I actually wear many hats, and where I actually am is because of the gradual learning that I've been doing in the sector. In 2008, I actually resigned from my work that I had only been signed up for 9 months. And I like the flexibility of agriculture and the flexibility in terms of the employment hours, and then also in terms of the income. I could control the income. So I decided to just quit my job and start the line of agriculture. Along the way, my fellow youth would actually contact me, not only in Kenya, but all over Africa, requesting me to support them in terms of extension services, basically knowledge sharing. A very interesting call I received from a gentleman called Hussein from Somali that actually influenced the kind of engagements that I did from that moment on. Hussein called me from Somali, telling me that he had planted tomatoes on a 5 acre of land. And it had been 3 weeks and the tomatoes had not germinated. So instantly I asked Hussein, what was your method of propagation? And Hussein told me when the tractor was busy making furrows, his farm people, together with him, came putting the small seeds in the furrows. For those of us who know basic agricultural practices, we do not propagate small seeds like that. But again, I do not blame Hussein. I kind of faulted ourselves because of these are basic information and basic practices that should be common to all of us. That one is what influenced me to start the 4H Foundation Kenya, which is one of the 73 country-led programs that focus on youth development. And one of the things that 4H Kenya does is introduce children to agriculture at very young ages, at 6 years, so that they interact with agriculture in a way that they understand. And of course, the programming is usually designed to address the problems of that particular time. Like in our case, we like addressing the issue of savings in young children through the agricultural clubs, because we need them to know how to manage the little that they have. We also have the issue of food security. We need our children, because they are consumers of what they eat every day. They need to have every business in knowing how food is produced, and basically getting them to interact with the sector in a way that they basically understand. We make it fun for them, but mostly we let them lead the process. The other issue on 27th of, in 2017, I got appointed to be on a policy level in my county. That made me the youngest minister serving agriculture. in the whole country nationally. I was the youngest. So that one made me realize the kind of responsibility I had. Because when you talk about issues of access to finance, someone like Hussein, when he lost all the money that he had actually saved up to be able to propagate the tomatoes, he made actually a loss. He lost money in the input he had put, the farm inputs that he had invested in. He lost money in labor. But what cushion mechanism does someone like Hussein have? There was no cushion mechanism at that time. If anything, as a private sector person, I only tried to introduce him to people who would fund him back for seeds, and also try and see which subsidies we could be able to access in terms of the fertilizers and all that. But I wish I would do something more for the likes of Hussein that time. But nevertheless, now that I sit on a policy level, I'm actually able now to do something on a bigger scale. Something not only for the youth of my county, but also for the youth of the whole nation at large. That gives me a responsibility. So the issue of access to finance, I recently developed what we're calling the county-specific youth in agribusiness strategy, and I would share it with anyone who may want to have a look at it. And the strategy addresses 11 strategic issues that we have to deal with concurrently, from introducing the young child who's 6 years old to agriculture at the same time when we are addressing the issues facing that youth who is already 18 to 35. All these things, we have to do them concurrently so that in future we don't come back to actually try to convince them at that time, and we have the opportunity now. The issue of access to finance is one of the components of the strategy, but my strong belief is we have to couple up and address all these issues at the same time. They may not affect all the youth at the same time. You'll find that there's a youth who has more of access to finance needs, and maybe they need knowledge on extension and so forth. But we have to find out a very comprehensive approach to how we engage them and how we implement these strategies. Lastly, as I close, I'd like to say that most of the time we keep on saying that the youth have refused to join the sector. I'm actually on the ground and I can comfortably say that was valid in 2011. The youth are in the sector and they're struggling and they need each and every support that we can give them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dali, in 4 minutes, tell us your story.
Hola, buenas tardes, estimados gobernadores y gobernadoras, a todas y a todos los asistentes que nos acompañan. A nombre de la Delegación de los Pueblos Indígenas de América Latina y el Caribe, agradezco la participación en este panel para hablar de la experiencia de la empresa de economía social y solidaria de la que yo formo parte, Mopampa. Mopampa es una empresa que está conformada por mujeres indígenas nahuas de la Sierra Norte de Puebla y esta experiencia la voy a compartir en 2 momentos. El primer momento inicia con un grupo de mujeres indígenas desde el año de 1992 que producen chile serrano. Pero ellas deciden transitar de la producción a la transformación porque ellas en el ámbito productivo del campo, su trabajo no estaba valorizado y tampoco reconocido económicamente, así que ellas deciden hacer algo diferente también que les permita acceder a todos sus derechos y uno importante que es el acceso a la tierra. Así que ellas se organizan, empiezan a crear una empresa para producir el chile serrano y transformarlo en salsas secas, que es una salsa tradicional de nuestra comunidad. Y bueno, esto para ellas ha representado una revolución también. ¿Por qué? Porque en la comunidad, las mujeres indígenas, no está concebido que podamos ser empresarias. Hasta ahora, para ellas también les cuesta un poco de trabajo concebirse como mujeres empresarias, pero aún así asumieron el riesgo y lo hicieron. Y en la segunda parte de esta historia es donde yo entré a esta empresa porque la inició mi mamá, que para mí ella es una fuente de inspiración porque es una mujer que logró romper con los paradigmas, con los estigmas que determinan hasta dónde podemos llegar las mujeres, y ella dijo que no, que eso no tenía que ser así y que la historia tenía que cambiar, no solo para ella, sino también para sus hijas y para las mujeres que vienen detrás de nosotras. Así que yo me incorporé a la empresa, al grupo, en el 2011, empecé a trabajar con ellas en la parte de comercialización, porque también esa es una experiencia muy complicada para las mujeres que estamos iniciando un negocio. Y entonces, a partir de este proyecto, lo que nosotras tratamos de hacer son varias cosas. La principal es acceder a todos los derechos, la eliminación de la violencia contra las mujeres, el volver a crear diálogos intergeneracionales entre los ancianos, las ancianas y los jóvenes, porque se están perdiendo muchos conocimientos tradicionales, se están perdiendo muchas semillas, se está poniendo en riesgo la biodiversidad de nuestro territorio. Entonces ellas dijeron, no tiene caso que nosotras nos entreguemos a un sueño si no hay una generación detrás de nosotras que lo va a continuar. Ellas dijeron, tenemos que hacer de nuestro sueño un sueño colectivo, y así lo hicieron. Nos empezaron a involucrar a las hijas y ahora la segunda generación somos mujeres indígenas jóvenes que también estamos participando de manera activa dentro de la empresa, y gracias a ellas que yo puedo estar aquí participando, compartiendo la experiencia. También estamos trabajando mucho en incorporar a la tercera generación, que ya son las nietas, los nietos, y lo que también buscamos hacer con este proyecto es inspirar a los jóvenes de nuestra comunidad, porque están abandonando los campos. A los jóvenes les venden la idea de que deben estudiar y se tienen que ir, porque en el pueblo no se puede hacer nada. Nosotras estamos cambiando esos paradigmas, les estamos diciendo a los jóvenes y a las chicas, no, si tú tienes la oportunidad de acceder a una carrera universitaria, está muy bien, pero la realidad de las comunidades indígenas y rurales es que esa posibilidad es muy, muy pequeña. Entonces, ahora lo que nosotras estamos haciendo es transformar la concepción de lo que es ser campesino, que para muchos el ser campesino es sinónimo de pobreza, y nosotros les decimos que no, porque ahora los campesinos tienen un papel importante y fundamental para la alimentación del mundo, y también es una realidad, y que también hay que hacerlos a ellos como pensar esto, que desgraciadamente ahora somos los jóvenes también los responsables de asegurar el tema de la alimentación para el futuro y a los niños, y que posiblemente es una carga muy pesada para nosotros, pero que es algo importante y que tenemos que empoderarlos y dignificar el trabajo a campesino para que ellos realmente se sientan parte de la comunidad, y sobre todo hacer esta conexión importante que hay desde la cosmovisión indígena con nuestras semillas, porque si perdemos también esa conexión, se pierde la semilla, nos hacemos dependientes a los alimentos que vienen de fuera, y también o sea, no solo la comunidad indígena, sino el mundo en general. O sea, ¿qué vamos a comer? Si dejan de existir los campesinos, no vamos a tener absolutamente nada para comer. Y entonces nosotras queremos que a partir de nuestra experiencia, las mujeres y los jóvenes vean que aunque somos de una comunidad indígena rural, somos personas que podemos cambiar el mundo, y que podemos estar en espacios como estos a nivel internacional, diciéndole a la gente que nosotros sí somos creadores de innovaciones que pueden mejorar nuestra calidad de vida. Y sobre todo, a mí me encanta mucho decirle a los jóvenes que el mundo depende también mucho de nosotros, y que el papel de los jóvenes agricultores es importantísimo y que hay que dignificarlo. Y también siempre invito al mundo en general, y si no eres campesino, que también dignifiques el trabajo campesino, porque de verdad el reconocimiento de su trabajo para la alimentación es de suma importancia, y sobre todo para las mujeres también hacer incidencia en este espacio en donde también se reconozca nuestro papel en el campo es de suma importancia, porque muchas veces es invisibilizado. Así que muchas gracias, creo que me pasé.
Thank you. Jim, it's your turn.
Good evening, Your Excellencies and IFAD governors, ladies and gentlemen. I got interested, or actually attracted to agriculture for the business side of things, as when I saw that there is a lot of opportunity to do business in agriculture, I felt that if I studied the science behind it, it would be easier for me to do the business side of things, or at least come up with entrepreneurial activities given the scientific background of the different aspects of farm to fork. So after I finished my undergraduate studies, I got introduced to a network called IFAD, which is Young Professionals for Agricultural Development. And when I served as a country, and I serve right now as a country representative, and we came up with a 5-fold strategy on how we are going to promote how we promote agriculture to young people. And it's basically that agriculture can actually be in the academe, in extension or in advisory services, in research, in policy and governance, or even in agribusiness. And this is the way we try to promote agriculture, that is not just about farming. It is all these aspects from farm to fork. And so within our network, there are several colleagues of mine and members who are actually successful in how they accessed finance and markets. And one of them is my friend who is Dax. He leads a consultancy firm called Dream Agritech. And what they've done is that they've actually linked with the consulate in Dubai, and they've actually been linked to a group of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs as we call them, and they actually came up with a program, an agreement, where OFWs who are wanting to go back into the Philippines and do livelihood programs or do business can be reintegrated into the country. And so what they've done is that OFWs can invest in farms, and Dream Agritech provides the consultancy, the advisory services in between, where Dream Agritech does the field validation, the market survey, the management services, and even the marketing for the OFW who's invested into the farm. Another colleague of mine, Irwin, who actually came up with a startup on urban agriculture, where his concept is more of waste to waste. Your waste just right in your body. So farm from urban wastes that can be recycled or composted could actually become media for you to grow vegetables. And that is his startup, which he actually brought into the Future Bridging Leaders program of the Asian Institute Management and Team Energy Center, which is a bridging leadership program. And so in that program, he actually got mentoring, and he won the award. And so now he's been connected to local government units where his urban agriculture model can be piloted. Another is electronic magsasaka, or that is the Filipino term for farmer. So e-magsasaka is a startup also that was incubated in Make Sense Philippines, where they actually helped them develop and polish the business model, where now they just came from the initial ideal phase, and now they can actually execute it. And now what they call it, they are investment ready. And what they've done is that they've linked with farmer organizations where they can help market those products of farmer organizations and link them directly to the markets. Lastly, YPARD Philippines last year came up with a mentoring program which was supported by the Global Forum for Agricultural Research and YPARD Global. And what we did was we had several mentees who specialized in the various sectors that we said: academe, research, extension, policy, and business. And one of them actually focused on the business side, and she had a mentor that helped her develop her social enterprise idea, and now she's pursuing her graduate studies in the Netherlands because of that development and the polishing of that social enterprise idea. If I were to sum up all of these, the key factors that help young people access finance and markets, one is that we need an enabling environment where young people and their capacity can be built not only to the production aspect of things, but in the networking, in the business side, in the ability to network and communicate clearly to potential partners. And another is parallel seed funding and mentoring program. I do believe it is important to give and help young people start up with funding. But alongside with that, there has to be some support system, some mentoring program that goes along with these seed funding, or else it could just be another resources wasted away. So given that, these are some of the success stories from the Philippines, and these are key factors which I believe IFAD with a Rural Youth Action Plan can help address, create an enabling environment, and also provide seed funding and mentoring programs that can be institutionalized in governments and even into the country strategic or the COSOPs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, I had some questions that I wanted to ask them, but I want to relegate that and give you the opportunity to talk to them. If you can do it in 1 minute, I could start here. Anyone who has a question for any of my panelists? in 1 minute. It could be a question, it could be a word of encouragement, it could be an input. Are we getting warm here? Going once? Going twice? I think they're sleeping here. Let me come to this. Oh, okay, I see a hand there. Over to you, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick question. Do you all see an opportunity perhaps for further networking, as Jim mentioned, so that youth to youth can create those kind of enabling environments as well as with mentors? Is there a possibility perhaps of a forum that, with the support of some of the Rome-based agencies, to continue that conversation and have some type of a network?
Okay, who would like to take that? Yep, Annie.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I think that's a very viable suggestion, and I believe as much as the dynamics of youth may look different from maybe country or county, we really need to have more of a kind of a global sharing platform. And I think I like the idea of the proposed youth council that provides a platform for us to be able to advocate on a higher level, and then also to lobby for the people that we actually represent on the ground. So I think that would be a very good platform. But again, also the composition of the people who would be mentoring, and also like the seniors in terms of in the sector would also be very good, so we can have a very strategic kind of an engagement that will give us results and impact on the ground. Thank you.
Okay. There is another hand here. I don't see the country. You can introduce yourself in 1 minute. A question.
Okay. Mi nombre es Michael Pérez. Trabajo para Fabreto y soy delegado internacional de los 4H. Fui invitado por la International Agri-Food Network. Y bueno, como mi estimada Dalí estaba hablando, yo vengo de una comunidad rural y hemos sido, nos han dicho desde el corazón de que nosotros debemos de ser profesionales, de que no debemos ser campesinos. Bueno, yo tengo esa historia de que así tenía ese mal concepto, pero ahora ya no. Soy maestro y ese mal concepto que yo tenía lo he cambiado. Lo he cambiado porque quiero que mis estudiantes cambien esa manera de ver y regresen. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde deben de regresar? Al campo. ¿Cómo deben de regresar? A través de las organizaciones o las instituciones privadas. Por ejemplo, Fabreto, a través de Fabreto se implementan diferentes tipos de programas. Un programa de educación el cual hace que el estudiante se enamore de la agricultura. ¿Cómo? Por ejemplo, si comparamos la secundaria de mi país, hay dos tipos de secundaria. La secundaria donde yo imparto y la secundaria que lleva el gobierno. Pero si comparamos los chavalos o los muchachos que están saliendo de nuestra secundaria, están más comprometidos con el campo. ¿Cómo? Porque se han trabajado con diferentes tipos de cursos. Lleva la secundaria, pero al lado lleva los currículos. Cualquier tipo de currículo. Por ejemplo, cursos de apicultura, cursos de procesamiento de alimentos, cursos de elaboración de abonos. Entonces, eso nos ha permitido que nuestros jóvenes cambien la forma de ser. Bueno, y en el caso de eso, digamos que necesitamos también de que las empresas o las organizaciones den créditos, pero den créditos de un fondo revolvente. Por ejemplo, Fabreto da fondos, da préstamos, pero no pide intereses. Entonces el joven se siente comprometido y si prestó $200, ejemplo, él va a regresar $200. Pero hay un problema. ¿De qué me sirve que me presten el dinero si no tengo el canal de cómo vender ese producto? ¿Cómo lo hago? Digo,
Thank you. Let's keep it short.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think it was not a question, but he was really adding, with the experiences of young people. Thank you very much. I need to give, this audience a chance to speak in 1 minute. Bhutan, thank you.
Thank you. I fully agree that in the agriculture working system, there's a high potentiality for the youth to participate, and youths actually could become the leaders in setting examples for our farmers actually to get encouraged in farming. But then for the youths, especially the educated youth, once they go through the school and the colleges, then it becomes quite difficult for the youths to get into the hardship of the farming life. So for that, in all the processes of the farming, right from production, then the post-harvest management and marketing, it all needs to be mechanized. But then for mechanization processes for countries like Bhutan, it becomes a costly factor. So unless the funding agencies like IFAD come in to support for mechanization of the agriculture processes, right from tilling of the agriculture fields to processing industries, and then later on the marketing, it becomes quite difficult for countries like Bhutan to engage youth. Although the government very much is interested in engaging the youths, but it becomes, the resources scarcity makes it difficult for governments to engage youth. So how supportive your governments in encouraging you all in in engaging the youths in this agricultural production and the marketing process? Thank you.
Okay, who would like to take that? How supporting is your government in terms of, supporting the youth? And I would like you to keep it short because I want to engage my participants here at another level. So let's just keep it short.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. Yeah, actually in Cameroon, for example, the government recently launched a 3-year special plan for young people in the agricultural domain, whereby with the youth advisory, National Youth Advisory Board, they map out best and attractive programs and innovations, and later on, they go through a screening process, and afterwards, the young person who qualifies is actually funded, given a startup capital to invest and then to carry on and employ, and this actually worked a lot, and it employs a lot of other young people in the whole sector. And to come up with the issue of post-harvest losses, I think most of the times we, as young people, we produce before identify the market. But to address that, we've come up with some programs whereby we advocate and make sure that young people actually survey the market, try to identify what the community needs before they produce. That actually addresses the issue of post-harvest losses and increase productivity and profitability in the agricultural sector. Thank you.
Okay. I will encourage that as we go for reception, you can grab one of them to expand so that they can share more experiences with you. I would like to take the last 15 minutes to engage you in this way. Since morning, we have been hearing about the call, to engage youth, the call to increase, access to finance for young people. You also heard the stories here. I have a question for you. Yes, I have a question for you. I would like you to take just 2 minutes to reflect on what you want to do or what you want to change in your countries in light of the discussions that we had. Maybe there is that policy that you think, maybe if I change this policy or if I introduce, this initiative and the like. Let us think of, some actionable ideas that we would like to implement in our countries. We have a piece of paper in front of you, like this. I would like you to reflect individually and write it down, please, so that we can actually capture that. You don't necessarily have to write your name, but if you want to write your name, it's okay. What are those 2 ideas that you had from our panelists here, but also throughout the day, where you say, this is something that I would like to implement in my home country? 2 minutes to reflect. I would like to see everybody taking a pen and a piece of paper and jotting down those ideas. What are those 2 ideas that you are encouraged to do or to change in your country? A piece of paper? Yes, you write down. If you don't have a piece of paper, there are pieces of papers. Just write those ideas. What is it that you want to do differently? What is it that you want to change or introduce in your country? It could be a program, it could be an initiative, it could be a policy, towards, increasing the youth, access to finance and other productive resources. I know we might not all have a chance to share our ideas, but I would like you to leave that piece of paper there. We will collect it with my colleagues so that we see some of the ideas that are actually coming out. What are those 2 ideas that you want to implement, to change, or to do differently? Okay. Looking at my time, I can take, few inputs. I saw a hand there. Do you want to share what you wrote on your piece of paper? Anyone who wants to share what you wrote on your piece of paper? Yes? Do you want to share with the audience or not? No. Okay. If I can read it. Okay. Anyone who wants to share? Kenya.
Thank you very much. The future.
The future, thank you, yes.
For sharing your experiences and the enthusiasm that you have in this sector. It has come out in the discussion. I think what we need to look at in encouraging the youth to really engage in agriculture is to make agriculture clean, in quotes. Because for a long time, the youth have, we look at agriculture as some work that is not very interesting, not clean, and what have you. So more use of the ICT and other technologies, which in Kenya, my colleague from the county will be able to share that experience. And as we are implementing our agriculture sector transformation growth strategy, there are a lot of opportunities along the value chains because the country has been mapped into economic hubs, and there will be different enterprises, and all the infrastructure, including the ICT, will be implemented. So hopefully the youth will be really encouraged. Okay. The other one is engaging the youth in agriculture early enough. And we used to have, in Kenya, we used to have, in the syllabus, we used to have agriculture and home science as compulsory. At some point, it was optional. but the curriculum is being reviewed because when they understand, first of all, even the nutritional value of some of the foods or how to even grow the agronomic practices at an early age, it will create interest. The other one is creating networks, and I would encourage Anne for that county-specific strategy. I would encourage you to share with your colleagues in the other counties so that we sort of build capacity within the country and even beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other person who would like to share their actionable ideas? Benin?
Merci beaucoup. Merci de me donner l'opportunité de partager avec vous les perspectives du Bénin par rapport à l'entrepreneuriat des jeunes. En fait, le Bénin a développé des réformes, a entrepris des réformes majeures, notamment des outils de promotion de l'entrepreneuriat agricole. Et à ce propos, je vais mentionner le développement de curricula adaptés à la promotion de l'entrepreneuriat. Il y a le Fonds national de développement agricole qui permet aux jeunes l'accès au crédit adapté aux activités agricoles avec des guichets orientés promotion de l'entrepreneuriat. Et le Bénin a aussi élaboré et mis en œuvre un programme de développement de l'agrobusiness avec l'accompagnement de la République sœur de l'Inde ici présente et du PNUD. Ensuite, il faut initier aussi un programme de mécanisation respectueuse de l'environnement, lequel va être géré par une agence de mécanisation orientée résultat. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. I will take one last intervention. I don't see the card. Is that Sudan? Yes.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. حقيقة أنا رغبت أن أساهم بتجربة السودان في برامج تمكين الشباب لريادة الأعمال الزراعية. وفي البدء لابد أن أشير لأهمية الاستثمار في الشباب الريفي وتعزيز فرص عمله في القطاعات الزراعية عبر رفع مقدراته وتوفير التمويل اللازم. والسودان من الدول الأفريقية الأولى التي حظيت بموافقة بنك التنمية الأفريقي على تنفيذ برنامج تمكين وتعزيز قدرات الشباب في الأعمال الزراعية وعلى تنمية قطاع الأعمال الزراعية للشباب بنسبة 50% للشابات و50% للشباب. ويقوم البرنامج على نهج التعلم التجريبي الذي يقوده الشباب وينفذه المعهد الدولي للتنمية الزراعية وبتمويل من بنك التنمية الأفريقي. وهذا البرنامج يمثل مساهمة في إيجاد وظائف لتأمين الغذاء والتغذية وإدرار الدخل وتحسين مستوى المعيشة للشباب بالحضر والريف. وأنا أفتكر أن هذا البرنامج هو نجاح كبير في حل مشكلة العطالة بالنسبة للشباب، ويمكن أن يحل المشكلة بتوفير برامج مشابهة تغطي مساحة أكبر من البرنامج الموجود حاليا. وشكرا.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, I'm going to, stop the inputs there, and I would like to give my panelists in 30 seconds, really 30 seconds, because I want us to finish here at 7 o'clock sharp. 30 seconds, what is your last word in 30 seconds? Jim, I'll start with you.
Thank you again, Hilami. I think one of the biggest contributions that IFAD could do and the different member states could actually do is to support a youth council for Rome-based agencies where we can help and advocate influence policies that are youth-oriented and that can empower young people not only to be tokens, but really to participate in the process of designing policy, advocating, formulating, and implementing certain policies. Thank you.
Okay. Dalim, in 30 seconds. Thank you.
Ok, bueno, quiero aprovechar este espacio donde pues hay políticos de todo el mundo que hacen incidencias en el país. Primero que nada, que piensen desde las realidades de los jóvenes. Muchas veces los programas son muy limitados para el acceso a que nosotros podamos acceder a esos programas, porque vienen desde términos legales que nosotros no podemos cumplir y eso también lleva otras cosas que se complican. Pero también quisiera resaltar, ahora están hablando mucho de lo que están haciendo en su país, que también en estas incidencias de trabajo que hacen para desarrollar proyectos con jóvenes se piense desde lo propio, desde lo local, porque muchas veces llegan los gobiernos con proyectos innovadores, pero que no es desde lo propio y no hay esa conexión entre los jóvenes y por eso muchos proyectos quedan en el abandono. Entonces creo que se tiene que generar un diálogo entre gobierno y jóvenes para crear desde lo colectivo, desde lo propio, para que realmente los jóvenes sientan suyo ese proyecto y sea un proyecto de éxito.
Thank you. Anne, in 30 seconds, please.
Thank you. Mine would be to request, because I know in this room we have the decision makers and we have heads of government. Mine is to request on behalf of the youth, because we have challenges that are really tough on the ground. When we look at the situations on the ground, they are not appealing at all. Mine is to request, when we go back home, kindly let us find a way of supporting these young people in our own countries. And then also again to request that at times I believe we can also work with the youth who are actually running successful programs, because it is only in investing in those ones who are already in the trade that others will actually realize that they have role models that they can learn from. Other than that, mine is to say thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you. Divine, the last one in 30 seconds.
Yeah, agricultural finance is a key component to address as far as policymakers are concerned. And then the next thing, we need to actually ensure that the outcome of this panel should be followed up at country levels, because most of the times these actions are not being taken. So let's translate this into concrete action back home. Thank you very much.
Okay. 2 minutes. I want to stick to my time. While I thank my panelists, please may I get those actionable. Yes, please. May you help me collect those actionable ideas? Yes, walk around and collect. Yes, I'm getting very interesting ideas. On that note, I would like to thank the future. The future is here, and when we thank the future, they need the biggest round of applause. The biggest round of applause for our future. Okay, thank you very much. I kept my promise. I said I'm going to let you go at 7 o'clock sharp, and it's 1 minute to 7. Thank you very much. We're closing the session. Let's continue to engage during the reception while we collect those pieces of papers. Thank you very much. Thank you.